Morning. Morning. My name's Dot Talley, and I'm an addict. You want to see me, baby? All right. This is just for Mike. I would like to thank the committee for inviting me. We're having our regional convention in the Pittsburgh area next weekend, and I'm told that some of you guys will be there. That'll be nice. It's kind of amazing, I think, how God puts all these folks together to do all this stuff. And I remember when this person called me in '85 to ask me to come to the World Convention in D.C. I said, well, how are things going? And she said, oh, well, we need this, and we need this, and this. But things are going pretty good, especially since we started the resentment meetings. And I said, what? She said, oh, yeah. She said, that's the only reason the convention is going to be as good as it's going to be, because, like, as soon as we recognize what's going down in all the meetings, we just stop and hold a resentment meeting. You know, the committee does, and then we get on with the business of what we're supposed to be about. And so I had coffee last week after a meeting with a couple of people on the regional convention, our regional convention in the Pittsburgh area, Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania. And I passed that information on, and he said, that's a great idea. I'm going to take it back, and that's what we're going to do. You know, and that way the meetings won't get so bogged down. We just stop, have a resentment meeting, and I'll accuse you, and you'll accuse me, and this is the way I feel, this is the way you feel, and we'll pray about it and get on with the business of the, you know. And so I don't know. I got to find out what's going to happen. You know, like I say, I'm always amazed because at the people that God always uses to get his work done. This is a dynamite convention here. It's been beautiful, you know. And you know, there's a couple of things we always know. We just automatically know. And that is when people, that's any people. See, I have a thing of always saying, well, you know, I'm an addict. Or things like, well, you know how we act as addicts. And for some reason, we think all this craziness is unique to us. It isn't. It isn't. Human beings act nuts like that. All human beings. You know what I mean? I mean, if you go to a PTA meeting, that's the way they act. Anywhere you go. If there's a whole bunch of people together, that's the way they act. You know, and I used to think that I was a misfit and that I was screwed up. There's no feeling that I have ever felt that somebody else has not felt. And addicts in particular, but other people also. They're just as a thing that all human beings feel the same. It took me many, many years. I used to think that I had difficulty feeling love. And that's true. But I'm clean a little over 11 years, and what I find is I had difficulty expressing love, even more so. It took me a long time being clean to find that out. I always thought that it was like them. If they would only show me this, if they would only express this towards me, if they would only make me feel whatever, if they'd only get up off my back, if they'd only give me a break, if they'd only let me live, if they'd only whatever. But the real truth was, I felt like I got born, and when you get born, God gives everybody a book, and everybody had a book, and I had a book. The difference is I didn't know what page nobody else was on. See? Because when I looked at your book didn't read like my book, and when it was still, you was laughing, I was crying. And when I was crying, you was laughing, and it never came together. And so I looked around and decided I have to do something. I have to pretend. And kids learn at a very early age how to pretend that they fit, how to pretend that they are enjoying this. The truth is about me, by age 11, Even though I did not openly verbalize this, my feeling was, is this all there is? I mean, is this all I'm going to do from now on, as long as I live? Because life was not exciting to me at all. Nothing that I was turned on to. See, you know, I guess they talk about the kids in the TV now. Well, I mean, I'm dating myself, but they didn't have TV when I was a kid. I'm 58 years old. They didn't have no television. See, I remember when they had the Rockettes at the World's Fair in 1939, you know, and when the TV was green, you know. So, I mean, life was not exciting, and people say, kids watch too much TV. Maybe they do. I don't know. I didn't watch no TV, and I got screwed up. They didn't have. So, I don't know. You know, it's funny to what we say. You know, we still, everybody wants to be different and unique. You know what I mean? We want to be classified about on a scale of 1 to 10, how much did you hurt? You know, I was out there longer than you. I'm of the opinion that if you're in this room, you got sick. I didn't come till I was 47. There's people in here, in Narcotics Anonymous, that's 17, and all that kind of stuff. And let me tell you something. People say, you know, people get on my nerves anyway. And they do. And they say things like, oh, I think it's so wonderful that you got the program at 16. I'm wondering what's so different about the chump that got it at 16 from the chump that got it at 66. Some folks don't get it at all. You know? You understand that? A lot of people die and never get this program. And you know, I think we just don't understand so much about what we say. The only difference between me at 47 and somebody at 17 is I hurt longer. I didn't hurt no more. You better believe a 17-year-old kid did not say, well, I'm going to go check out what they're doing in them smoke-filled rooms on Saturday night. If he's 17 and he's here, he need to be here. It ain't about no question. See what I mean? Anybody up this early on Sunday morning sitting in this meeting needs to be here. Or they in love with somebody that needs to be here. I don't know which it is. Okay? Because I'm here because I was driven to be here. Why would I want to be a member of Narcotics Anonymous? For what? I mean, really, think about it. For what? I am very grateful that of all the things I could have, that I am powerless over my addiction. See, if I got to be powerless, I'd rather be powerless over that than anything. Because there are people, check the world out, that are addicted to power, addicted to greed, addicted to self-righteousness. There's a lot of people addicted to a lot of things. They do not have bizarre behavior. They're very acceptable in society because they don't act like we act, and they're way sicker, and ain't nobody gonna tell them they sick, and they gonna do what they gonna do. And I thank God that I'm an addict because I was finally driven to do something about me. So I'm glad I'm an addict. Okay? I look at the world and I say, okay, I know what my problem is, but I wonder what his problem is. See what I mean? And I don't know. I work in treatment, and I see the people that do treatment. And I'm saying, oh my God, I wonder where they gonna go to get better. See what I mean? Where are they going? The people that's treating the sick folks, where are they going? I started something called, a couple years ago, called 12 Steps for Professionals and Paraprofessionals, okay, in my area. Because I have a feeling that we all bring our own personal history to whatever we participate in, our jobs and our this and our that. You would be surprised how those therapists refuse to deal. They would not deal with them. And I got a little upset. How dare I do that? Why do I deal with me? I deal with me for one reason. I was driven to do it. If I had never been driven to look at my raunchy, low-down behavior, you better believe I'd have never did it. And that's why they don't look at theirs. See? Because I look at mine because I could not go one whit further. We talk about the 3 maintenance steps, 10, 11, and 12. And I'm on those 3 maintenance steps. But guess what? Things have been happening in my life recently that have driven me to that first step again. I stopped smoking 18 months ago and took up eating, baby. And let me tell you, 41 pounds later, see, I don't want to be powerless over nothing else. That's what the problem is. What's the problem? I don't want to be powerless. What was the problem when I first came a little over 11 years ago? I didn't want to be powerless. It's the same problem. There is something in me that rebels against being powerless. But therein lies my saving grace, because you better believe I got to die to live, die to me daily. That I'm powerless over all of this stuff as it pertains to me, and any time I attempt to run my own life, I'm in trouble. Okay? I don't try. Now, I do it. Here's what I like about recovery and the steps. Don't mean you ain't wrong. It's just that when I'm wrong, I don't stay wrong as long. I used to stay wrong for years. See, I don't stay wrong as long as I used to stay wrong. And I'm not wrong as often about the same dumb thing. See, it ain't about getting good. People say, she works a good program. I don't know what that means. I'm not complimented. If I got 11 years and this guy got 11 days over here and he's still white-knuckling it, what makes me a good NA? What is he with 11 days? Ain't he trying to stay clean? Ain't he in the same meeting? What makes me a good NA? I'm working a good program. What does that mean? I thought the only requirement was the desire to stop using. He ain't using. Ain't had nothing for 11 days. I mean, is he a good NA or what? Well, what are we talking about? You know, what are we talking about? I think a lot of times when I hear something that's sick, I say, oh, that'll catch on quick in the fellowship. Because we like all the sick stuff that don't mean nothing. You know, we do. And we don't think like, now, wait a minute, what do that mean? Like, I hear people, I say, how you doing, baby? I'm hanging in there. I say, how long you been hanging in there? 5 years. That's too long. Hanging in there is for the guy with 11 days that has not decided that whether he wants to stay clean or not. And when you don't know whether you want to stay clean, it is time to hang in there. You better believe it. That's what it's time for. When you got 5 years and you have decided you want to stay clean, it's time to start living. Hanging in there is for new people. See, I want to get on about the business of living and doing this program. Narcotics Anonymous is the greatest thing that ever happened to me. For a lot of reasons. Number one, I hated all young people. That's why it's good for me. I hated all young people. And the reason I hated young people is because I was a few generations past being out on the set. And I was still out on the set with the newspaper trying to cop, sitting in the car being cool, looking through the rearview mirror for the connection because I did not want to stand on the corner because everybody was young on the corner but me. See? But me. And the connections, all the young guys knew my name. And I would deliberately forget their name every day because I didn't want to know it. I was ashamed to be out there. My daughter is also an addict. Well, she was. She died in 1979. But my daughter was an addict. I didn't want to see her on the streets. I just hated all young people. And I started, along with another person, the first NA meeting in Pittsburgh. Guess who came? All the young people that I hated. You know, don't clap for me. God had me to start the meeting out of a resentment for a psychologist that works in the same agency that talked bad about dope fiends. Had nothing to do with what I thought we needed NA. See, he just let me do it because I hold the deepest resentment the longest. That's all. That's the only reason. But I do. I love Narcotics Anonymous. And what my suggestion is that if you don't and you're a member, see, this program's a little bit like having sex. If you don't enjoy it, you ain't doing it right. Gotta learn how to do it right. See? And the way you learn how to do it right is find and develop whatever talent God gave you. Because we have talent for different things. Some folks have talents like me. You know what my greatest talent is? Rubbing down new people. Keep coming back. You're doing a good job, baby. Everything's going to be all right. I do that better than anybody. You know what I mean? Hold still. Wait a minute. Give them the hugs. Rub them down. You know what I mean? Take them to get coffee. They get so revved up after I get through dumping that coffee and they start seeing Jesus. They just... You know what I mean? I am dynamite at that. There are other people that are good at policy and procedure. There's people, and them Robert Rules of Orders read me crazy. But there's other people that wouldn't stay clean unless they was doing that kind of crazy stuff. You see what I mean? And God knows it, and if you hold still and ask him, he will develop whatever talent that you have. That's what I love about this program. When people have trouble believing in God, if you don't believe there's a God, go to an area service meeting. See what I mean? You will have no doubt that there is a God, because when you watch him in the group conscience, when everybody else is trying to dope fiend each other, you will know there is a God. That's right. That's right. And I'll watch him time after time after time save us over and over and over again when we're completely nuts. It happens all the time. I have no problem believing in miracles, okay? I have no problem believing that God has a sense of humor. I have no problem knowing that he will use anybody to do his work. If you don't believe it, look at the person sitting next to you. You don't pick them. He don't pick them. He will just use anybody. Even me, okay? And I'm an individual that thought that I was totally worthless. I really did. I thought I was a misfit, good for nothing. I started drinking when I was 13. Hated being drunk. Got drunk every time I drank, so I decided I'd smoke some reefer. And it worked because I didn't get as drunk. And then I thought I'd experiment with some pills, and then that was pitiful. The most pitiful thing I ever did in my life was take pills. Because they never did in my system what on the label it said they're supposed to do. They never did that. See, there's some of that stuff you could kind of trust. I never could trust a pill. If the pill said this is a downer, it shot me up there. If it said this is an upper, it shot me down there. And if they said, well, this here is just something to mellow you out, it shot me out there. I never knew what the pill was going to do, and it never did the same thing twice, no matter what I saw. I was a failure as a pill taker. I just was. And then I experimented with all the other stuff that you get into, and finally in my early 20s, I went to the penitentiary for the first time. And I was very afraid, and my life changed because I was lonely and I was afraid, and I couldn't let nobody know, because you see, when you come from my neighborhood, what you learn is, we call it learning your ABCs, always be cool, and I learned how to be cool. And see, when you're cool, you can't let nobody know you're scared. When you're cool like I was, you marry a dude like I married at 16. He was so cool he went to bed with his shades on. Every night. You know? Yeah. I even had a couple of scratches up here from having sex, where his glasses be hitting me, up here in the head, and he'd take them off. He was cool. But I liked him because he was cool. So when you're hurt like that, you can't let nobody know. And I was afraid. And what I know today is I've always been afraid. I am fearful about new things and about changes today in my life. The difference today is, through the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous, is I can be scared to do it anyway. I can ball that fear up here and pray past that fear and keep stepping. Because what I do, if I get prayed up, I can do it. But the thing is, it ain't me. And what is so beautiful today is I know who the source is. You see what I mean? It used to be, when I did something that was okay, I had to act like, hang my head down. If somebody said, Doc, you look nice, I'd say this old thing, and I might have spent 2 hours in the mirror getting ready. But see, I couldn't take no compliment. And I live with my family. You know, my mama and I got 4 grandchildren, and I live with 2 of them are still at home. And so there ain't no dude in there to talk, you know, that good stuff to me in the morning. And so I talk it to myself. I say, you 58-year-old fox, go get them. Every day, every day. I say it to me. See, when I'm talking to my higher power about sending a dude to say it for me, you know, because sometimes you do get tired, you know, you get a little tired of the sound of your own voice, you know. I remember when, I was about 50, I started praying, and I got broke. Because, you know, they tell me most of the things don't have money when they get here. I had some money when I got here. I just couldn't go no further, y'all. I couldn't, you know. But I had a few bucks when I got here, and I got broke. And way before I got broke, I started praying about being broke. And I asked God to send me a man with some money, because I get real explicit in my prayers, you know. And I asked him to send me a man with money, and he got me a job. Now, you know, at 50 years old, I did not want to go to work. I didn't. I really didn't. But I have learned a lot of tolerance, and I have learned to rely on God. I really have. It's kind of like a rubber band. You take a rubber band, and it's right here, and then you stretch it, and you hold it out here, and you hold it, and you hold it. And when you let it come back, it looks like the same rubber band, but it ain't, because it has stretched further than it's ever been. And God allows me to do that every day. I stretch past where I was yesterday, and I do it by faith, because I know that I don't know. And that's the smartest thing that I ever did in Narcotics Anonymous, was to get dumb. See, the intelligent people, you know, some of them's educated beyond their intelligence. That's why it makes it difficult to get this program. A dummy can get it. See what I mean? And that's the smartest thing I ever did. And I stretch past me. And I use the last part of that first step every day of my life. Because when I don't, I pay the price for not using it. I went to the penitentiary in my early 20s, and I returned to the penitentiary a total of 5 more times over the next 20 years, because I didn't learn nothing the first time I went to the penitentiary. And you have a tendency to return when you don't learn the first time. And it's funny, the police didn't change. I changed. They are not my enemy today. See, I don't have to say the same thing if they'd only get up off my back, if they'd only let me live. It ain't up to them whether I live. I am free under God. See? And you don't know what that means to me, to be free under God. I'm the kind of person that if people had opinions, let's say about, I'll say abortion. If you thought it was a good idea, I'd say, yeah, I understand where you're coming from, baby, and I'd tell you why I understand where you're coming from. If you were against it, I'd tell you, oh, yeah, I understand why you're against it, and I would side with you. Because I really had no opinions. I had no opinions. But today I got a right to be wrong. And I got opinions. Probably about a lot of stuff that I ain't got no business having no opinion about. But it's all right. You understand what I mean? Because I am free to make mistakes, and I am free to be wrong today. And I don't let nobody rain on my parade, and I don't let nobody in my business, because I'm free under God. Narcotics Anonymous is an advocation. Okay? When we talk about practicing the principles in all, A-L-L, our affairs, that means all of them. The program is not just at the meeting. The program's in here. When I'm going fishing, that's the program, because that's one of my affairs, and I take the best attitude I got fishing. When I'm having sex, that's one of my affairs. I take absolutely the best attitude I got. That's the program. You understand? That is the program. The program ain't at the meetings, and I don't allow nobody to tell me what to do. I don't. Now, listen to what I'm telling you. If you're telling me something about my raunchy, low-down attitude, which I have, I don't want to listen, but I will. I don't want to agree. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. When people talk about getting help in this program. I wonder why somebody with 60 days can still help me. I picked up a girl for a meeting that had 31 or 32 days, I forget. We were on our way to the meeting, and I just was bouncing off her head. I didn't even know she even heard me. You know, I thought, well, I just got to get rid of this. I got to dump, so I'll dump it right here. We're on our way to the meeting, and I explained. I didn't expect no answer. And I said what I said. She said, well, you ain't got no problem. All you got to do is mind your own business. You know what I mean? And I thought, wow. You know what I mean? See, that's the kind of stuff that's deep to me. That is. That's deep, you know. And I wonder how come I can get help by the new people. I get help by the people that I sponsor. They help me. They really do. You know. Now, here's where I'm coming from. If somebody wants to go to another fellowship, go to another fellowship, but go for the right reason. And don't explain it, because you're free under God to do like you want to do. But don't tell me you're going because you need some other recovery. See what I mean? I do not expect people to explain their actions to me, because I do not explain mine to other people. You know? And sometimes I be chomping at the bit for other people to allow me or to invite me in their business. I went to New York last of July, and I went to California in August, I think. Two great big metropolis. When you go to some of the meetings, you know what kind of meeting you're in. I went to the meeting in New York, and we got there late, and the guy said we were going to an NA anniversary, and I got there, and the language was kind of weird. And I thought he said we was going to an NA meeting. And I looked on the wall, and there was the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous. I said, this is an NA meeting. And so the next day I had to talk. And I'm pleading with God, Lord, I do not want to leave Pittsburgh and come to New York and tell these people how to do the program. Let me off the hook. I ain't the one. That's why everybody hates me now. You know what I mean? I'm copping a plea with God, see, before I get up there and talk, because I don't want to tell the people. I want to mind my own business. But God said to me, when you get on your knees tonight and say that you did the best you could, are you going to be telling the truth or not? And I said, I'm going to tell the truth, because I'm going to tell these people. And what I told them was this. There is a language for every place. And we need to respect where we are. When I am in my home, I don't use four-letter cuss words, because I respect my mama and my grandchildren. When I go to the jailhouse to see my clients, I talk out the side of my neck, because that's the way my clients talk. When I go on the corner, I talk the way they talk. You know? When I come to an NA meeting, I might say, right on. I go to church Sunday morning, I say, amen. When I come to Narcotics Anonymous, I am clean. I am here to maintain my recovery. I do not have slips. I don't relapse either, but you understand what I'm saying? Because I respect Narcotics Anonymous enough to use the language of Narcotics Anonymous. That's all it is. That's all it is. It has nothing to do with being hey, man, let me tell you something. I fought everything. I fought my way for 47 years, all in the nut houses I fought. I started riots in the nut houses. I carried signs. I demonstrated. I would have carried a sign that said, kill me when you get to the corner, because I was against everything. I'm not against everything today. You understand what I mean? It ain't about having all these causes and stuff. It is, so I am not against anything or anyone. What I am saying is, I respect this fellowship enough to learn about this fellowship. That's all. If I'm going to be a member, man, listen, I'm supposed to know something about it. I took an art course and wanted to learn how to draw. The teacher said, you can't learn how to draw till you learn the history of art. How you going to appreciate art if you don't know nothing about the history of art? I went in there and wanted to pick up the oil paints and start painting. She said, no, here's where you start. Learn about what you're a part of. I never was a part of anything. When I first went to the penitentiary, I started to build these walls. And I built these walls for years and years and years. I can remember getting major surgery, and the people say, next of kin. Who is your next of kin? And I would lie and say I didn't have no next of kin. I was 3,000 miles away from anybody that I cared about or anybody that cared about me. But I was so sick in my soul. I was sick. And I felt so unworthy that if I died, I just wanted to die and have nobody know who I was. That's the way I felt about me. You see, we talk about all this self-improvement. Sweetie, it ain't nothing about no self-improvement. Check out what you started with. It ain't about self-improvement. It's about self-replacement. There was nothing to start with. And nothing from nothing leaves what? All right. You see what I mean? Because left to me, today I will destroy me. And there's a lot of ways for me to destroy me, minute by minute, day by day. Take your choice. And if I'm not careful, I'll just get real subtle and do it another way. Find another way to commit suicide. Because that's what addiction is. And I respect this bad, Pappy Tapper, because it's sneaky. I lost my only child in 1979. She left 4 kids. There was no reason for relapse. See, I don't listen to that kind of crap. What's death got to do with relapse? What has grief got to do with relapse? What has loss got to do with relapse? Because let me tell you something. If I understand it when it's your turn, when it's my turn, I'm going to understand it. And I don't want to understand it. I don't understand why nobody relapses. It is a luxury I cannot afford. Not me. And we understand it. And that's dangerous. It really, really is. It's dangerous. I am totally committed to health and well-being. That's what I'm committed to. I'm committed to happiness. I am committed to that. Because let me tell you something. Happiness is a decision. And I see people, let me tell you, I keep telling you, people get on my nerves. They do. Because I spend hours on the telephone with people trying to take their sadness and their grief away from them, and before I get off the phone, they snatch it back. They give me a yeah, but. See what I mean? That's what they give me. They give me a yeah, but, and young people so often are committed to misery. We don't know the difference between excitement and confusion. We love confusion, and we think that we do not deserve to be happy. Let me tell you something. I'll clear it up right now. You don't, but God loved you and laid it on you. Take it. If you are trying to earn the right to be happy, forget it. You ain't got nothing to earn it with. When we get up here and talk about being clean by the grace, you know what grace means? I looked it up, unmerited favor. Unmerited favor means you cannot earn this. It's a gift. You understand what I'm saying? It is a gift. If you're an addict and you're sitting here, there's not another addict in this room. The 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous and the 12 traditions of Narcotics Anonymous, which is the basis of our program, cannot remove the craving to get high. Only God can do that. By Him zapping you with some of His grace. There ain't no psychiatrist. Nothing can take away the craving to get high. You understand? That's what I'm telling you. And we get too hung up, I think. Now, it's opinion time. Okay? And I'm telling you right now, I'm very opinionated. And if you don't agree with me, you got a right to be wrong. Show you how fair I am. Yeah. See, because when your turn comes, you get up there and say what you want to say. You know what I mean? And totally disagree, and it's fine. It's all right. But I want to know, what do we know? The average man's lifespan is 70 years. Okay? It's like somebody threw me out there and said, okay, Dot, now it's time to be a daughter to your mama. Now it's time to be a mother to your child. Now it's time to be a grandma to your grandchildren. And now it's time to be a man, a woman to your man. And I didn't know how to do none of it. And I still don't. I don't know how to do none of that. Okay? Because you better believe, baby, the dude that gets me has got to have a God. He got to know how to pray or he going to quit me in a week. He is not going to keep me. I don't know how to do none of that. I am praying that a girl that I have tried to help for 3 years, I am praying that she does not call me anymore. And I don't feel bad about that. Because 2 weeks ago, I had to tell her, I don't know how to help you. I don't. I have nothing to help you with. I have given you all that I know. You don't have a higher power, and I don't know how to help you. Now hear what I'm saying. It does not mean I'm any different or any better. It means exactly what I said. I'm not the one to help her because I rely on God. See, and if she wants to tell me to tell her some of that psychological googly gop, you understand what I mean? To when she is hurting and paining, I don't know none of that shit. And I do it for a living. But I got sense enough to do what works, baby. Let me tell you something. I work for one reason. Money. See? And people talk about wearing two hats. I don't wear no two hats. That's our problem. We too confused all the time. See, when I see one of my clients at an NA meeting and they say, oh yeah, what we was talking about last week in office, I said, see me next week in office. I'm in here for my recovery. I don't get the shit mixed up. I know what keeps me clean. I know what gets me better all the time. See, and sometimes when stuff gets on me, I say one word, help. Because that's a prayer. Because I want to be happy. And I don't know if all of us have made that decision. See, because a lot of us know how to be depressed. I used to know how to be depressed and used to love it. You know, and I'm talking about us. That's why people run around 5 and 6 years say they're hanging in there. You ain't got no business hanging in there. Something wrong if you're still hanging in there with that much time. See what I'm saying? See, I had the market cornered on depression. Sometimes I used to do it impromptu, without thinking. And sometimes I used to plan them. I love the ones I planned. Oh man, they turn out marvelous. Really? Oh, I could just, oh man, did I love them kind of depressions, you know? But I remember this one impromptu depression I went on, and I hadn't planned that one, and it ended up 8 days, and my brother-in-law coming was going to kick the door down, so I had to give it up. You know, he didn't mind his own business like he should have. But I ran out of cigarettes, and I hadn't planned to, and I ran out of food I hadn't planned to, but you can't put your clothes on and go get food and cigarettes. You got to hang in there and stay depressed. Because after about 6 days of just eating oatmeal, you know, and then you start to get dark under here and dark under here, and you start to lose weight, you start to look good. Because you start to look a little bit martyred. You know, and how what the world is doing to you and don't nobody understand. You know, it gets good. See what I mean? It's just getting good. Because we are people, individuals that nobody understands, and you just whip it up. And it gets better and better and better, and the adrenaline runs. You understand what I mean? Because we love being depressed. That's why I don't get depressed no more. I admit I love it. I do not allow myself the luxury of being depressed. I don't get bored no more, because I found out when I'm bored, it's because I'm boring. So I don't get bored no more. I don't get bored. See what I'm saying? The question is always, Doc Talley, what's your problem? Not him, not them, not she, not her. What's my problem? What can I do? Okay? What can I do about me? I'm happy today because I do not rely on anyone outside of me to make me happy. Now, you better believe, Lord, that a dude could enhance my happiness. But, sweetie, if you think I'm waiting on a man to make me happy, you're crazier than hell. It is not his responsibility. Why would I lay that on another frail human being like me, my happiness? That's like him being, what you call that, the puppeteer. Okay, if he pulled this string, I'm going to be happy. If he pulled this one, I'm going to be sad. God don't like that. He don't. He don't. I ain't got it wrong. I had it wrong all my life. I got it right today. God first, Doc Talley next. I got to be next, because if I put you or anyone else next, it's out of sync and it ain't going to work. Because if I ain't all right with God, I ain't going to be all right with me. And if I ain't all right with me, I ain't going to be all right with you. And that's the way it's got to be. That's the way it's got to be. You see, because I'm going to call this my God box for lack of anything else to call it. You understand? I tried to put sex in the God box and stuffed it, and I thought it was going to work, and it felt good, and it felt like it was going to work, and it failed me. I tried to put dudes in my God box, and they failed me, because they're just like me. I tried to read them intellectual books, okay, and get into Eastern philosophies, and all that kind of stuff that was going to work. That fit in the God box, and the and, yeah. Okay, I put dope in the God box, and it lied to me, and it told me I was okay, and I wasn't okay. I tried to put everything in the God box, but God. Don't nothing fit in the God box but God. Not even money, and I like money. See, I am not a member of Narcotics Anonymous that material things don't matter. They matter. You know, when you get past the Holiday Inn, that's roughing it for me. Okay? I like material things, you know, and God knows that I do. See, and I don't lie to him and pretend and stuff, because some of our goals here in this fellowship are to be good. I have no desire to be good. I have a desire to be well. Okay? I don't want to be good. Because when I try to be good, what I find is I cannot live up to the goals, the good goals that I have set for me. Okay? And I disappoint me. And when I disappoint me, I take it out on you. And I come to the meeting, and the coffee's too strong or it's too weak. Or the speaker talks too long, or he don't talk loud enough, or the meeting ain't running right. And that's because I'm dissatisfied with me. That's what the problem is. I have learned not to listen to me. I just told you I've been in the penitentiary 6 times. Why would I listen to me? You know what I mean? When my mind tells me, like a couple weeks ago, I went to the hospital to see a girl I sponsor, and I was very, very tired, and I was barreling down the freeway to the meeting. And I got to the meeting, and here was all the people out in front, and they was waiting. I said, oh, shit. Now, I didn't race down the highway to get to the meeting. Now I don't want to be at the meeting. And I just speeded up and went past the meeting. And I'm thinking, why did I do that? And see, I don't get into a dilemma trying to analyze all my feelings. I went around the corner and parked the car and prayed and went to the meeting. See, I didn't sit there and, now what was that feeling? And why was that feeling? You understand what I mean? I knew I belonged at the meeting. Why? What difference does it make why I sped past the meeting? It don't matter. What should I do? Go to the meeting. And that's what I did. You see what I mean? I don't listen to me. Look, it's what I do about what I feel that counts. It don't make no difference what I feel. I do good shit for me today. I have to do that because there is still, and I don't care what you call it, the light versus the darkness, positive versus negative, good versus evil, God versus the devil. I don't care what you call it. But there is a negative force inside of me that is still trying to get me. And I know that. And I need some ammunition, man. People be talking about a relapse. A relapse starts right here. You may not pick up the chemical till a year later, but it starts back here. And I know about my thinking. Okay? I know about it. I am able to zero in and tell me the truth about me. And that's what I'm about. I'm about getting well. I'm about health. I am not waiting for nobody to make me happy. When I do something in this program, I can ask myself one question. Dr. Talley, who you doing it for? And if you say you're doing it for Narcotics Anonymous, you lying. Because you ain't doing it for you. You're doing it for your own recovery. I made coffee and set up the meeting and tore down the meeting for 18 months and was mad. Was mad. Now, I told you all the people was young. I showed up mad. See what I mean? And wasn't nobody putting the, mule in it but me, and I was mad. And after I was so nuts, and my sponsor said, who are you doing it for? Now, you know I didn't want to answer that. See what I mean? But when I decided to stop doing it, because you get nuts, And I went to the meeting. Now, I'm scared to let the meeting go, so I lay on my car seat, see who's coming in to sit the meeting up, if it's going to get done or if it's going to get done right. I'm laying on the car seat being cool. The people go in the meeting and set up the meeting. Guess what I did? I went in, the literature was turned this way, I turned it this way. See, we get crazy. We really do. But I'm able to laugh at all that kind of stuff today. It's okay. It's okay. It's just a part of being a total human being. I just want to be a part of the we. I've never been a part of a we before and felt like I belonged. There is a sense of belonging in these rooms. I think it's very important for us as individual members of Narcotics Anonymous to find out what the steps are saying and to find out what the traditions are saying and how they apply to us as individuals. And when we come in, really, see, one of the things, and I got a beef, I really do. And my biggest beef in Narcotics Anonymous is about sponsorship. I wonder why the people repeat the dumb stuff they repeat. I do. And I think it's our fault as sponsors is why they repeat the dumb stuff. Okay? And I think we need to tell them in love. Always in love. What we do is we zero in on stuff that ain't none of our damn business. How do I know when you ought to screw who you ought to screw? That ain't none of my business. And you know how I know you don't know it? Because it ain't in our literature. Our literature don't say we know nothing about that. We don't. I tell people this: don't come telling me that crap. You are not in love. You're in heat, and what you do about your heat problem ain't none of my business, and I'll see you at the meeting. See? That's what I tell them. I don't know what they ought to do. Should they be in a relationship? How would I know? Check my record. How would I know? See, but something else I know, everybody in here ain't smarter than me. I know y'all don't know either. See, now if you say to a person, here's what works for me. I didn't get into a relationship for a year, then you're not wrong. Because you're saying that's your opinion, and you're not wrong. Because that is your opinion. If you say, this is my suggestion that you don't get into a relationship, if you say that, you're not wrong. But if you say, here's the way we do it, Narcotics Anonymous, you're lying, because Narcotics Anonymous don't know nothing about that. We don't. We don't know anything. We need to stick to the stuff that we know about. See, instead of, because all America's got a sex problem, I think, anyway. That's why we're so gung-ho with all this sick shit all the time. Instead of telling the people that if you're in Narcotics Anonymous, you're an addict. You're not an addict alcoholic. You're an addict. So tell people stuff that's important about NA. You understand what I mean? Tell them about how to stay clean. Tell them to ask for help. Tell them to thank God at night. Tell them to go to meeting. Tell them to don't use. You understand what I mean? When people get here from out on the track, they're tired. They're beat up. And we lie and we say, just come on here and we don't care what you did. We just want to love you. And then they ain't here 10 days where we start running their whole life. We start making them feel guilty if they're in a relationship or if they're looking at somebody, instead of explaining what's happening. What happens is when you stop using that dope, you start grieving that dope because you had a love affair with that dope. And then you start looking at the opposite sex and sometimes the same sex, and you want to get turned on again. You understand what I mean? It's just like a baby that's being breastfed, and they like it. And then they get off the breastfeed, and you put them on the bottle, then you take them from that, and you put them on the pacifier. You understand what I mean? We want something. Because we are stark, raving clean. And that's the problem. See, we're living in reality for the first time, sometimes in years. And we're scared to death. And we are looking for something to escape into. Instead of us sponsors explaining that to the people and telling them what the problem is, we start laying our sick morality on them. That's what we start doing, and it's none of our business. We are here to love people, man. That's what we're about. I love new people. And I get upset when we don't treat them right. We know all kind of stuff. And I don't know where we learn that about this medication and that medication and all that kind of shit, and turning people off and putting them out and love people. Love people. That's what it's about. How do you love them? Care about what happens to them. That's how you love them. Actively care what happens. See, when I sponsor people, sometimes they fire me. Because when they get up to the podium to talk, if I sponsor a dude that ain't got nothing but one pair of blue jeans, guess what I tell him? Press them when you get to the podium. Put an extra crease in them. I'm going to tell you why. We think people are hung up on these weighty words of wisdom we laying on them. New people don't hear that stuff. They don't hear it. I didn't hear it. And what I heard, I didn't believe. New people look at you because you're the only basic text they can read. That's what it is. See what I mean? We are the same outfit that in 1953 couldn't meet no place but the Salvation Army in Southern California. You know what I mean? Them was the only people that welcomed us. Don't you think we got a responsibility under God to give something back? To act like we are adult human beings? See, I don't like that blasé, let it all hang out, because I was blasé all my life. When I was dying, I was blasé, and nothing was a big deal. Everything's a big deal. Narcotics Anonymous is a big deal to me. See, and when I sponsor somebody and them girls ain't got none of them blue jeans, I say, go to the Goodwill and buy a $2 dress and get up there up front. Because the new people don't hear it. They see you. And they say, oh yeah, I remember her last year when we was out there together. Look at Susie. That's why. That's why I do that. I ain't hung up on no dress either. You understand what I mean? But I'm up front. And you know the saying is, what's up front that counts. See? And there's somebody here with 1 day or 2 days. That's why. You know? We need to respect. We talk about self-respect. Sometimes I wonder if we know what self-respect is. When we talk about our husbands trust us, our wives trust us, the boss knows we're going to be on time and this and that and all that stuff, that ain't self-respect. That's respect of other folks. Self-respect is me. Dr. Talley, if you don't want nobody else to call you a dirty name, then don't you call you a dirty name. Dr. Talley, if you don't want nobody else to put you down, then don't you put you down. And we are past masters at putting ourselves down. I go to some meetings and I want to get uplifted, and if we on step 1, ain't nobody powerless enough. And I suck because I'm not powerless. If we on step 2, I don't believe good enough that I'm going to be restored to sanity. I try, but I just don't. If we on step 3, I'm trying to make it, no matter what it is, we ain't enough. And there's some meetings I'm not well enough to be in. See, I'm not. Because I go to a meeting to give something and to get something. You better believe it. And when we continuously talk down and talk down and talk down about ourselves, I wonder why the sponsors don't give the folks some kind of chore to do. To, for 1 day, make love to yourself in the mirror. Or for 1 day, don't say nothing. I didn't say don't think nothing, but just don't say nothing negative about yourself. For 1 day. Because we are in such a habit of doing that. Don't you know God loves you? He is not finished with you yet. You ain't the finished product. It's just like a diamond. You know how it starts out to being coal, and you take it out the mine, and I don't know what all stuff you do with it. You beat it, and you put it in the acid, and you burn it, and you beat it, and you tear it. And that's what's happening to us in all this growth. And God has made us more beautiful than the Hope Diamond. We are not finished product yet. Get up off your case. Get up off your case. Damn. We do it all the time, and it ain't necessary. Let me tell you, it was 3 demons, and they had happiness. They didn't know what to do with it. And one demon said, we're going to hide it down in the ocean, between the crevice of a rock or in a shell, man won't think to look for it there. And they thought, and they thought, and they thought. And they said, no, maybe accidentally one day man will stumble on it. Second demon said, we'll put it on the highest mountain there is. Stack rocks all over it. Man will never look for it there. They thought and thought, and they thought, no, it might be an earthquake, move it around someday. Man will accidentally find it. We ain't going to do that. The head demon, he was slick. He said, I know what we'll do. We'll put it in the heart of man, because he ain't going to never think to look for it there. See? And we don't. See, I am not waiting until I get no degree. I am not waiting until I buy a home. I am not waiting until I get married. I am not waiting until all my potential drug addict grandchildren come to Narcotics Anonymous. I am not waiting for nothing to be happy. I'm happy today, because I made a decision when I got up this morning. Let me tell you something. I was out there for 47 years. I've been in here for 11. 11 years is not long enough for me to automatically be happy. If I wait for just the day to turn me on, the day don't care nothing about me, baby. I got to turn me on. I make the decision about whether I'm happy or not. You better believe it. And so do you. That's the only way you're going to do it. Motivate yourself. Part of our problem is we got all the old tapes, all of them in there. They're in there. I admit that they're in there. But part of our problem is we do not know how to record, and we do not know how to remember good stuff. There should be something every day that we record about ourselves and we remember. But the only way we're going to do that is by practicing. We got to practice. That's how come this program works. We practice staying clean a day at a time. Okay? It's just like God. People talk about, I'm going to pray, after I find out something about God, or after I get a little bit of faith. No, you won't. You won't. You pray now and faith comes. See, there's a difference between faking it till you make it and acting as if. I act as if. I don't fake it. I may not make it. I act as if. Let me give you an example of acting as if. If I pray tonight to find an apartment, I'm going to the grocery store tomorrow and get some empty boxes. See what I mean? To start cleaning out my junk drawer. Because I done prayed, I done called all the real estates, I done put the word of mouth out. I start cleaning out my junk drawer. That's acting as if. You see what I'm telling you? That's what you got to do. You got to practice. How do you think you became a drug addict? That's what I'm trying to tell you. You got to practice. If you think God's going to zap you into anything, people always tell you about if you don't get NA, it'll get you. How? How's it going to get you? It will never attack you. If you don't get up off your butt and do something. See, people want a job, want God to read the one ad and go to the employment office, and he ain't going. You got to do that. Practice. Practice talking good stuff to yourself. Practice remembering and recording good stuff. We did not always fail. Even in our addiction, it is impossible to always be wrong. Even trying. You can't always be wrong. Let me tell you a biblical story. Let me preface it by this. Some of us get real spooky about religion. And I want to tell you, religion doesn't necessarily have a lot to do with God. Not necessarily, and I'm not against religion. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying that religion is man-made, okay? And it's fine for whoever wants to participate in it. I'm not for or against it, okay? But when I talk about the Bible, I'm talking about a book, which has nothing to do with religion. Some religious folks use the book. I do too, okay? And I gave myself a chore a few years ago of reading the Bible from cover to cover, and what I found was that God uses all the dummies to do his work. He uses all the weak people. He uses all the people that don't want to do it. He uses all, that's what he does. You know, that's why I know he's got a sense of humor. And I was reading about David and Goliath. And it's a story about us motivating ourselves and about remembering and repeating good things so that in time of great crisis we will not feel like we cannot overcome, because we will remember some of the things, the good things, some of the things when we were not wrong, some of the times when we did not use. Because the first thing we do is we fold. Oh, I can't go to that interview because I blew that last job. You know what I mean? We remember the failures rather than the successes. There was two armies, the Israeli army and the Philistine army. And the Philistines had a giant named Goliath. And King Saul was the king of the Israeli army. And the Philistines sent a message to Saul and said, well, what about if we just have a champion to fight, because rather than have all this bloodshed? You pick a champion and we'll pick a champion. And Saul said, okay. But he couldn't get no volunteers because everybody was hip to Goliath. And so he started to sweeten the pot a little bit, you know. I'm going to give you land. You're going to marry a princess. You'll live in a castle. You'll have horses. You'll have jewels. He started to sweeten the pot. And everybody in the Israeli army started thinking, yeah, but we ain't going to live to collect it. So here come a little 17-year-old freckle-faced dude named David, who herded sheep. He had 5 or 6 brothers in the army. And all the guys were encamped around the campfire, a cluster here, a cluster here, a cluster here. And David come up into the camp, and he heard all the buzzing that was going on from group to group. And he said, what's going on? And they explained to him what was happening. And they told him what the prize was. You're going to marry a princess, you're going to live in a castle, you're going to have horses and land and jewelry and so forth. And David got a little bit motivated. So he went to the next group. He said, what did they say they going to give the dude that fought Goliath? And they repeated it. He got a little bit more motivated. He went to the third group. He said, hey, baby, run that by me again. What did they say they going to give the dude? You see what I mean? Because he wanted the good stuff repeated to him over and over and over. What's the prize? What do we say at every meeting? What is going to happen to you if you do this program? You understand what I'm saying? We want the prize. Why you think I'm crazy? What do you think I keep showing up for? You understand what I mean? I keep showing up because I'm motivated about the prize, about recovery. That's the prize. Not just not picking up. Recovery. Freedom, baby. Freedom. That's why I keep showing up. Okay? David said, run that by me again. Then he went to Saul. And he told him, I'll be your champion. And Saul said, but you're just a kid. What makes you think you can take Goliath? David repeated victory. He said, one day, I was out in the woods. I was tending the sheep, and a lion come out of the woods, and God delivered the lion into my hands, because the lion was after them sheep. He said, another time, I was tending the sheep, and a bear came out of the bushes, and God delivered the bear into my hand. Now, David had 5 or 6 brothers that were also in the army, and David was an embarrassment to them, because his brothers saw him going from cluster of men to cluster of men to cluster of men, talking to him, and they were embarrassed, you know. And they said, what you doing up here? You're supposed to be out tending them funky sheep. Why are you asking all these questions? You're making us look bad. You know what I mean? Why are you asking like you can go fight the giant? Man, what's wrong with you? You ain't nothing but a 17-year-old shepherd boy. You loser, get away from here. You're just making us look bad. See what I mean? But by the time David got to Saul, he told him about the victories. So Saul went to give him his armor, and the armor didn't fit. And David said, that's all right, baby, I don't need it. He reached down and picked up 5 smooth stones, and he had a slingshot. and he went out to the field of battle. Here come Goliath. Big, ugly. From his mother's womb, ugly. Poor self-image, poor self-image. Every time he look in the mirror, he want to kill somebody. You understand what I mean? He want to kill somebody. He's mad, he's just mad. Now, he's insulted because, can you dig it? He wants to kill another champion. And they insult him by sending a fair-haired 17-year-old kid. That's sure enough insult. And he screams, am I a dog? That you would insult me this way. He's enraged. David didn't feel nothing. You know why? He repeated the victory. He said, the same God that delivered that bear into my hands, chump, is going to deliver you this day. The same God that delivered that lion into my hand that came out them bushes, chump, is going to deliver you this day, turkey. And he did. You see what I mean? He repeated good stuff. He repeated it. We will continuously be defeated if we continuously remember the times we lost. All success is built on failure. Think about your addiction. How many mornings did you wake up and say, I'm going to quit tomorrow? I'm going to quit tomorrow. It was always tomorrow. And finally you were driven to do something about you, and you start stacking up them days, and you are a success today because you failed so many times in the past. You tried everything you could do to get away from you and to keep on using. And you failed. All success is built on failures. Why don't we start remembering the victories? Remember the successes. We are not losers. We are winners today. And I tell myself every day I'm a winner. You have got to do that or your mind will defeat you. It will. Because it's out to get you anyway. Yeah, your mind's out to get you. And if you don't start telling yourself good stuff, it will happen. We need to start today. Today is all we got. Yesterday was beautiful, tomorrow's fantastic, all that kind of stuff. But let's do what we got to do this day. Thank you.